Welcome to the Divine Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Cristina Aroche, and together we are walking the path of discovering your true self and the alignment with your soul. Through these conversations, you will experience a deeper level of connection with yourself and the universe, and most importantly, you will trust in your spiritual journey ahead. Let's begin. Welcome to another episode of the Divine Connection Podcast. Today, I am answering another question that was submitted that I'm so excited to get into today. And just a quick reminder to anyone listening in that you can always submit your questions to the podcast and receive guidance, answers, whatever you need by going to ChristinaAroche.com/ask-Christina, or you can also visit the link in the show notes. So let's get started today. The question says, when beginning in new projects, how can you stay grounded and not let self-doubt or imposter syndrome creep in? When I'm in the zone and focus on the task at hand, things are exciting, but then suddenly I can zoom out and all of the future pieces and execution are so foreign to me, I'm wondering what is even the point? I know that what I'm doing is important and I will be guided through the process, but how can I stay the course through the unknown and my own discomfort of not knowing everything and not having a plan for the next steps down the line? This is so huge. I appreciate this question so much because I feel like so many of us get stuck in what's familiar and what's known. And when it comes to venturing out into the unknown or into something new and different, we definitely sabotage ourselves. We definitely keep ourselves back from experiencing the fullness of what's available to us. So this is such a beautiful question. And I first of all want to share that Archangel Gabriel is the main angel who is coming through. But then also Archangel Raphael, kind of like subtly in the background, is also hanging out. So we've got the two angels, Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Raphael, who are going to support everyone, all of us, with this question today. If any of you resonated with this or can feel like, oh yeah, I do that, or I feel that, then this is going to be for you as well. Now, the main thing that we have to understand is that we have to make the reason why we are doing something matter more than the benefit of staying small. So when we start to question, like, what's even the point of doing this? Like, why does this even matter? Can I even do this? Like the doubt, the imposter syndrome, all of that are from the ego trying to keep you quote unquote safe, meaning it's trying to keep you small. And so we have to understand what is the benefit of staying small, because there is a benefit. Even though it's not what is most aligned to our path and who we're here to be as divine beings, there's still a benefit to playing small. So the first thing that you want to do is list out what is the benefit of me staying small and not following through with this project. Maybe it's that you then won't be putting yourself out there and being vulnerable to criticism. So that's a benefit. Like, you're staying safe. No one's going to criticize you. No one's going to see what you've put out there. So that's a benefit. You have to look at it from the ego's perspective. What else is a benefit? Maybe it's the fact that, well, if I don't do this, then I for sure won't fail because there's no risk of me failing if I'm not doing it. So another benefit. So you want to just go through and really sit with this. And again, you can call on Archangel Gabriel to support you. He's amazing to help bring truth and awarenesses to us. And so ask Archangel Gabriel to support you and to show you, what is the benefit of me staying small? What is my ego thinking that this is going to support me if I don't do this, and convinces me to not follow through? So that's the thing that we have to take a look at. And the other part of this that I feel is important is for us to understand why the mind brings in self-doubt, and why does it bring in that imposter syndrome feeling, and what is it doing aside from trying to keep you small? Like, what is the reason that it's uncomfortable with the unknown and uncomfortable with not really knowing what the next steps are? And the reason is because the mind receives satisfaction from feeling like it has a sense of control. And by knowing all the details, that is the mind's way of feeling like, oh, well, I'm in control because I know each step, I know every detail, I know all the things. So I'm in control, which means that it's safe, which means that, okay, we're good. But when things are unknown and you don't know the next steps, the mind is like, we're not going there because I can't be in control because I don't know what the next steps are. And so we can go deeper. This is where I feel Archangel Raphael now coming forward. We can go deeper and understand why that is, which is most of the time, the reason why we desire to be in control in the first place is because of childhood wounds, childhood trauma, childhood experiences where we felt out of control. So if you've ever had an experience, and maybe it wasn't when you were a child, maybe it was in your early adulthood, whatever it is, but experiences in our lives that made us feel very out of control and very unsafe. For the mind, it was like not being in control means not being safe. Like that is how the mind put the two together. Like this equals that. So now, in order to keep you safe and as a trauma response, the mind is like, well, we got to be in control in every situation. We got to know exactly what's going on. And if I know things, then I'm in control, and that means that I'm safe. So that's what we need to deprogram within ourselves through our divine connection and understanding that in our presence with the divine, in our connection with the divine, that we are always led into what is for our highest good. And so I equate this, what's coming through right now, as I'm saying this, Archangel Raphael is showing this to me, is developing a relationship with the divine in the sense of how, if you have kids and you feel how your kids rely on you as the parent, like they're trusting what you say. They know that you're going to guide them. Like they're it's just there no matter what. Like they just rely on the parent because they know that the parent is going to guide them. And so even if maybe sometimes we don't necessarily have had those experiences that could have been part of the childhood wounding, you know that now you get to create that kind of relationship with the divine, and that the divine is the responsible, beautiful parent that is going to love you and that's going to guide you and that is going to support you and show you the way. And so this is a deeply healing process, especially for those of us who maybe didn't have that example growing up. And for those of you who maybe didn't have that experience of having a reliable parent or having that support system and feeling safe and like, okay, I can trust you and you can guide me. And so that's part of the healing process here is now you are releasing your parents from that responsibility. Like it's not their responsibility anymore and we don't need that. But we can lean into the divine and lean into our spiritual truth and understand that the divine is the beautiful, loving, caring parent that is going to lead us to where we need to go. And so the same way, if you think of kids who fully trust and are just like, okay, like you're going to lead me to where I got to go, and they just look to the parent for guidance, it's the same thing here. We're looking to the divine for guidance. We're looking to the divine to show us and to lead us. And so that's a key thing here, is that you're creating a feeling of safety in the face of, well, I'm not in control. So knowing that even though you're not in control, you're still safe. So that's where we're breaking the what's it called? The link is what I would call it, like the link that was made in your nervous system that said, okay, if I'm not in control, that means I'm not safe. Instead, we're breaking that link and we're replacing it with, I'm not in control. That's okay because I'm still safe because the divine has me. The divine is going to lead me. The divine is going to show me the way. And so you create trust in the surrender. You're surrendering to the divine. You're like, I have no idea, but I'm just fully surrendering to you. And just feel yourself being in that space of full surrender to the divine and knowing that you are safe in it. Now, I know that's easier said than done. So this is something that is a practice and that takes time. This is why calling upon the angels to support us is so beautiful and so powerful, because they can hold that space for us and hold that connection. It's like almost like a bridge between us and the divine, to help to bridge that gap and to help us to experience those feelings and to help us to come back to that connection, to know that you are safe in it. And so this is something that you get to practice on a daily basis. Practice, practice, practice. And so when you feel safe in that surrender, you won't be questioning your path so much and what's next and how do I do this and whatever. We still might have those questions. Don't get me wrong. It still might come up where you doubt a little bit or you have a little bit of imposter syndrome. But it's like what I said at the beginning, you make the reason why you're doing something matter more than the benefit of staying small. So we're humans, we have egos. It still might come up. And so the goal isn't necessarily to not have doubt anymore and to not have any imposter syndrome at all anymore, but it's to have such a beautiful, deeply surrendered, trusting, loving, safe relationship with the divine that you're like, it's okay. We're okay. I'm safe. It's fine. Like we're going to do this because the divine is leading me and guiding me in this process. So one of the exercises that I want you to do as part of this work of reprogramming and healing is working with Archangel Raphael and asking him to help support you. Like it's almost like a layered thing where I see your inner child involved in this. Your inner child is coming in, you're there, and then Archangel Raphael. And it's this layered practice where you are connecting with your inner child and letting that part of you know that you're safe, that you're supported, that you've got your inner child, that you're here for them. And then also then for you feeling how Archangel Raphael is doing the same thing to you. How he's saying, I've got you, you're okay, you're safe, we're going to get through this. And so the more that we practice that connection and having that experience, the more that we actually open ourselves up to that truth and receiving it and believing in it. Because at first you're most likely going to resist that. Like, yeah, conceptually I understand what you're talking about, but internally I'm still resisting. Internally I still don't want to surrender fully. Internally I still need to have a bit of control. So it's not about trying to just rip the band-aid off and like force ourselves to trust and surrender, because that's pretty hard to do. It's actually just taking little baby steps and just one step at a time, a little bit at a time, and practicing what it feels like. So with Archangel Raphael, you can practice what it feels like to be surrounded by love and safety and connection. And then as you experience it more and more and more and more and more, you're going to open yourself up more and more and more to the surrender of what that means. The other side of this that I would recommend is definitely to continue to develop your relationship with the divine, meaning whether you call it God, source, the divine, creator, like whatever it is that resonates with you, but having that direct relationship with the divine, having that direct relationship with God. That to me has been a game changer in being able to fully lean into that surrender. So whatever that relationship is like for you, the wording or the title we give it doesn't matter as much as the fact that you feel the connection with this creator type energy, where it's not arbitrary like the universe can feel sometimes when we use the word universe, but when it's like feels like a direct being that you're connecting to that is the creator, God, source, energy, the divine, whatever you want to call it. But that energy is going to be important for you to connect with and develop that relationship. So that's the other thing that I would say with regards to this. So this is such a beautiful question. Thank you so much for submitting this. I think that so many of us feel this on some level. I know that I have experienced this many times and have procrastinated on things and sabotaged on things because of this feeling of not knowing what the next steps are. And so as you take it step by step, that is the key. Just baby steps. That's all we got to do. So thank you again for submitting this question. I would love to hear from you all who are listening in. Let me know how this resonated with you. Let me know in the comments what aspect of this you really felt like touched you in your heart, what parts you're going to be focusing on for yourself. And like I said, if you want to submit your own question, you can do so. The link is in the show notes. If you're listening to me on the podcast platforms, then make sure to rate and review this podcast. That helps to spread the message to other people. And if you're watching me on YouTube, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe so that you do not miss any other future videos. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you again for tuning in. I am sending you all so much love and angel blessings, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And if you want to learn more about the Divine Connection podcast, you can go to CristinaAroche.com/podcast and learn about how you can be featured on the show.